What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Dividend Investing. As always, link in the description. You get a free stock, I get a free stock. I'm being as transparent as I can with you guys. I want you to do your own research, but when I lay this out, it's probably going to be relatively compelling. There's some news coming out about this in the morning, so it could go either way, but I just want to show you where my mind is. Number one, I'm a huge fan of Stag Industrial, over $500, down 40 with dividends, probably only about 25. I look at their numbers, 78% payout ratio, 2% growth on the 5-year, and a 5% yield. A lot of good things, right? But when I looked at Gladstone Commercial, and I've been a big backer of Gladstone other than their land property, 10% yield, 95%, still not 100% payout. They're not a big growth company. They just steadily pay, but they're so transparent. I mean, you see here the Centrix building, they got a $24 million lease in Fort Lauderdale. I don't think it's in any type of risk right now. I've been trying to buy this stock as much as I can at or under $14. And something came out that really was a giant red flag to me on this stock, because I'm invested in a lot of REITs, and certainly we've taken a good bit of hits, but they came out and said they collected 98% of April's rent. 98% of April's rent is astonishing. Now, they did say they had, obviously, the 2% that they had to go negotiate with, and they're open to negotiating with the people that they deal with and lease to, which is great, and every company is right now. But when you look at a lot of the things I pay attention to in investing, how long has this company been around? Has this company weathered, I don't want to use the word recession, but have they been through a tough economic climate? Gladstone has. They went through 2008, and I feel like they'd be stable to do it again in a situation like this. Are they dedicated to their investors? David J. Gladstone, who owns these companies, is extremely dedicated to his investors, to the point that I mentioned last week, one of their other stocks actually is paying a supplemental income. So he's shown the promise to return your investment and reward your loyalty. Now, do I expect there to be a cut in the morning? No, because they've already projected out through the next 3 months. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit of a trimming of that dividend at some point if things don't turn around. But when I look at taking this, $300, and I literally could have almost doubled my position in Stag rather than open this position. The reason I elected not to do that is when I look back at Stag, I see a stock that maybe is only $3 or $4 off where it probably is going to rest for a while. When I take a look at Gladstone, if you can get back to that $14 mark, I literally think that stock at that point is $6 to $7 off of where it should be. And I would much rather have that 10% yield locked in now and know that it's going to go back to $18, $19, $20 and have a company that I have a lot more faith in than Stag. Because when I look at what they do, they don't tell me every single property. And these numbers that we're looking at here in terms of pay rate, I understand some people will say, well, you look at a company like Realty Income that you could probably get in right now for 51 or 52 and get that 23-cent per month payment. You turn that around to one of these companies, and sure, they're not, the industry gold standard of a triple net lease, but, not every company is going to get that status. That doesn't mean that there isn't a company like Gladstone here that isn't leasing out to companies like Centrix, to companies like Walgreens. They certainly are. American Bottling Company. Sure, they don't produce and bottle Coke or Pepsi, but they produce, A&W root beer and just as many other sodas. So you have to have other companies that pick up the slack in a way with these, I don't want to say non-blue chip companies, but ultimately that's what they are. And you're not just going to have a whole country ran on blue chip companies. I'm sorry. There's going to be some that gets hurt, but we're not going to wake up in 3 months and you're only going to have, Coke, Pepsi, Apple, Microsoft, Intel, and a couple other companies in business. It just doesn't work that way. I understand we're not in a perfect scenario, but in some cases, when you look at these REITs, they all got hit very, very hard. And they're all slowly starting to recover. Now, in my opinion, you take a look at a company like Gladstone Commercial or Stag, they are actually recovering a little bit faster than some of their peers like, say Tanger Outlets that I was fortunate enough to buy in at a very low price point. But I feel like if news comes out negatively on this stock in the morning, and it goes back down to that $14 price point or $15 price point, I probably would heavily go back in. But I have a much better feeling that what's going to happen is positive news is going to come out. And we could see an increase of maybe closer to that $17 mark. So it's going to be an interesting morning to see, how the earnings calls go, where they are in line with things, and how this shakes out. But I did want to show you guys, I invest a lot of the money that I get from YouTube, and I try to make the best decisions I can with it. And part of kind of branching off to do these dividend investing videos is to show you what the return on these things is. And in some cases, share my journeys, negative and positive. There's certainly been a lot of negative the past couple months, but before that, if you remember, we were up quite a bit. So if you guys want to look at this in the morning, see where it goes, I would welcome you to it. I would say that if it dips, I would be happy, but I'm really not expecting that. However, though, if it does, it's just kind of a reassurance that it's at a very good price point for me, and it's definitely a company that I'm looking to invest heavily in, just as I have with all the Gladstone companies. And like I said, it comes down to trust and confidence as an investor, investing in things you feel good about, and looking at numbers and believing what you are doing is the right thing. Could have easily doubled my position practically in Stag and elected to open this position and, to that point, see myself up a little bit. Hopefully continues to go that way, but if not, I'm committed to stick this out and make this, another portion of my portfolio that would easily rest at, that $500 mark if that opportunity presents itself again where there's a little bit of a dip. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking it out. I will be back in the week with more commentary.